Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here for the grand prize winner and a tour of the Reading Simplified Academy. Jennifer's sad that it's the end. I know it was a lot, but it was also very exciting for many folks. Thank you, Jennifer. Tiny little Jennifer comment. Let's make this right. I can't wait to hear how everyone did. Exactly. It's been a big week. So, if you've never joined us before, hi, I'm Dr. Marnie Ginsberg of Reading Simplified, and our mission at Reading Simplified is to streamline reading instruction and accelerate reading achievement. And we've just finished up a 5-day event called the 5-Day Reading Breakthrough, where we show the power of just one of our Reading Simplified activities, Switch It. And this isn't just all talk and just watching me. It's actually you guys doing the good stuff. So cheers to you for all of you who've been participating, whether you were doing 1 day or 5. It's still a big deal. We're glad you're here. And so today's kind of a wrap up. It's great if you haven't had a chance to join us all 5 nights. It's great if you want to hear who our winner is. And there's even more to it. Let's see if I can get the right. There we go. Okay, so this is what I've got planned for us today. Okay. First of all, we're going to find out who our winners are. We've got the 5-day winner, the winner for the 5th day, and then also a grand prize. So there's 2 winners possibly. Also, I'd love to hear what your wins were. A new insight, great results from your student or students. Start bringing them in. Maybe we'll draw for a prize. And then questions. I see Kathy is already ahead of me there, and she's got a question, so that is awesome. And I want to review really quickly the big ideas that we've covered. So Switch It is an activity. And you may have started to kind of get the hang of it. I want to make sure that you get some of the insights from this activity. So we'll talk about that. And then also, I wanted to let you know, if you're not yet a member of the Reading Simplified Academy, you just joined this reading breakthrough, and that's it, you're not a member, then the access to Switch It Online and the replays will go away by November 19th. It's about 30 days since the challenge ended. So the reason we do that is that we want to motivate you to get through if you need to catch up. Elaine is not just sticking with one kid, but she's going to incorporate Switch It into all of her groups tomorrow. I love that. That's awesome. The other thing I wanted to talk about, besides that reminder, I would love for you to consider jumping into the Reading Simplified Academy, and I'll be sharing a tour of that. So if you want a sneak peek, then stick around. And again, we can answer questions at that time about Switch It and Reading Simplified Academy. Okay, so are you ready for the day 5 winner? This is the person that put their comments on day 5, not the grand prize yet. In fact, what are they going to get? Let's see. They're going to get 8 levels of Steal It. So this is our game that is great for merging phonics and high frequency words. And we have a level for short vowel knowledge, and then 7 for advanced phonics like O and E and A and and ow. So let's draw our winner from day 5. Thank you to Greg for doing all this hard work. Day 5 winner for the 8 Steal It PDFs. Okay, so Christy, who identifies just as Christy on Facebook, is going to get that cool 8 levels of Steal It. Congratulations, Christy. And keep an eye out for a message from us, so we can get that to you. And now we need to talk about the Grand prize. So this is an amazing grand prize. We're very proud of it. It's 12 books from Phonic Books. They are a great partner, and they create lovely decodables that are fun, and they have the principles that are very similar to Reading Simplified. Whole phonics are newer and bright, cheerful, also very smartly written with a diverse set of children. You're going to get a whole bundle, like level 2. It's like worth $80. And then the 5 crazy longs from our partners at Sound Readers. And then a huge kit from the Literacy Hill of great, beautiful, decodable games, activities that, again, align really well with Reading Simplified. And so let's draw the winner, shall we? Cursor has not been my friend on this. Okay. Grand prize. Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll sound effect. So Leslie Ann is our big winner. She has got the best prize that we're offering. This is what Leslie Ann's going to get. Leslie Ann, keep a watch for Facebook Messenger so we can get your mailing address, and all these presents will come to you. As Jennifer says, way to go, Leslie. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about after the prizes, sorry if you didn't win, maybe next year. I also want to let you know that we're open for the Academy, and we've got some special bonuses. But before I get into that, let me just recap what we have learned. Remember, Switch It does a lot, right? These are all the things that it does. I've highlighted the things that are most important: phoneme manipulation and letter sound knowledge, but it's building all the other things. And so this is an opportunity for you not to have to do those things in isolation. So here are the big ideas that we've covered this week. Let me know if there's one of them that's more important to you, or there was an aha. When you use Switch It, you're going to be able to save time and improve impact by integrating multiple sub-processes at once, simultaneously. You don't have to do phonological awareness over here and phonemic awareness over here and letter names over here and letter sounds over there and all these activities that just end up taking more and more time. And it's not just classroom time, not just prep time, it is wasted insight. The child doesn't get it when things are compartmentalized, at least some children. The second big idea is to choose paired contrasts and interleave in concepts or knowledge, in this case, like phonics knowledge, that is hard for a student. A lot of programs block that knowledge, like doing massed practice, everything for like short A for 1 week or 2 weeks. We're putting short A and as quickly as possible pairing it with short I and then pairing it with short O. And you don't have to be perfect to interleave this information, and it's going to get learned more quickly. Jennifer, 12 small groups. Oh, my stars. You can make a video sometime, or maybe an audio, one or the other, like just of you doing it. That would be a cool thing. Then another big idea that we talked about this week was the way in which we move students up just requires 2 diagnostic questions. I mean, this is mostly what it requires. So you need to ask your student, can this student or small group add more letter sounds? Can I throw more on the board for Switch It? And can I increase the phonemic difficulty? If they're at 3 sounds, can I go to 4 sounds and 5 sounds, etc.? Yeah, Rebecca, who's in India, very faithful at 5 a.m. would love to know. Another insight that we've discovered is that when we give specific feedback, that we can spur growth more quickly than if we just challenge the student, they're unsuccessful, and then we think they're stuck at that late level. So Switch It, as again, we've seen, it's so powerful. So it begs the question, if you can put all these things together, which activities in your reading system can be thrown out, because it's going to be nailed by Switch It, and it's going to be nailed more rapidly. If anyone wants to share something that they have decided they're going to throw out, I would love to hear. And finally, we'd love for you to continue the momentum by doing all of the Reading Simplified system. We think that the easiest way and the most effective way would be by joining the Reading Simplified Academy. But if you just don't have that, right now, then keep watch on our website, on our YouTube channel. We have a lot of resources that you could try to piece things together. It's going to be a lot harder than if we hand it to you on a silver platter and we coach you, but still, there are more ways in which you can continue your momentum. And we talked on Friday about another activity which we'd always do after Switch It, or right next with Switch It, we do Read It to help with blending. And then we'd also move into Sort It for how to deal with the advanced phonics. And Jennifer's using the system that she's learned in the Reading Simplified Academy. It's just a 3-part lesson. So she does rereading for fluency, word work, and it looks like she's doing either Build It or Switch It, or Read It or Sort It, and then guided oral reading. A handful of activities, but they're comprehensive. Ooh, I would love that. And I got a video from you already. I'm sorry I haven't responded. Okay. So who would like a sneak peek? Some of you are pros at the Reading Simplified Academy, but if you're new to us, by the way, if you've joined, let us know. If you've joined this week, let us know, or last week, and we will celebrate you. Right now, I'm going to do a sneak peek, but anytime interrupt and ask me questions about Switch It, about reading, and about the Reading Simplified Academy. And I saw that Kathy already had a question, but it looks like Deb's got taken care of it. Oh, because I shared with Kathy that she was asking about how does a student choose with Switch It? How do they choose whether it's C or K or CK? And I said that, well, we just don't put alternate spellings. We only put the one that we want to use for that word list on the board, because we're doing Switch It with really early on in our practice. Remember, for instance, with our star student, he didn't know any letter sounds. He couldn't decode a lick. He was struggling. So he's not ready to learn CK versus K. Kind of too advanced for him. What he needs to do is get the fundamentals of just that C is K. He didn't even know C was K at the beginning. So Switch It has its time and place. If we want them to learn the correct spelling, we're going to read those words. We're going to read them in our activities, Read It and Sort It. We're going to write them and spell them in our activity, Write It. And we're going to read them and read them over and over again in our guided oral reading and rereading for fluency. So we pull from other elements of the 3-part lesson plan to give that knowledge about correct spelling. After students get with Switch It, after they've mastered most of the basic phonics, the consonants, short vowels, and consonant digraphs, after they've done that, then Switch It is not so much about learning phonics information. We do that with Sort It and advanced phonics. Switch It is more at that point about building faster and faster processing of sounds and symbols. So we keep pushing them to higher and higher levels of phonemic difficulty until we even get into nonsense 6-sound words. Splost, splont, splont, splunt, splunt, sprunt, splunt, sprunt, sprint. Sprint's a real word, and then we even move the letters out of the pictures because the students have built the orthographic representations of those letters in their head, so they're seeing the spellings. And so at that point, we're really pushing them to process sounds and symbols really rapidly. If you weren't a great speller and I just said all that, you might have had a hard time keeping up with that splost, splust, sprust, splunt, all those connections, because you have to have strong, robust orthographic representations to be able to do that, or spelling systems. So all that to say that if we want them to learn all the complexities of written language, we're not doing it primarily with Switch It. Switch It is a tool to help the student process sounds and symbols faster, but they're going to learn to recognize CK at the end of short vowel words, or if they have read those words, and we're preparing the way for them to read it. So, and Deb backs me up there. Thank you. Okay, keep comments and questions coming while I figure out if I can do a tour of the Academy. And how many of you have joined? And if you already know about this, then that's cool. Maybe not. Let's do that sneak peek, I promise. Just going to pick a different, here we go. Okay, so if you join the Reading Simplified Academy, you're going to see something like this. It'll be a little bit different from you because I'm a Reading Simplified expert, but and you'll have a different status. Tricky Kathy. She's trying to integrate Reading Simplified into another program which has a different approach. Right, most other programs have a very different approach. So you're welcome, of course. So yes, here we are, Reading Simplified Academy. The main thing that you do when you start is the main course. That's the main thing. So I'm going to click on this thing that's highlighted here and head over here to the main course. And you can see some things that may be familiar to you if you've been participating with us this whole week. Cursor problems. There we go. Well, of course, there's an intro, and then we get right into Switch It. Can you see that? Right there. Give me back my, yeah, there's my little thumb, finger pointing rather. After Switch It, we would go into Read It. That teaches blending. Then we would go into Guided Oral Reading, which teaches how to match the decoding that we're at with the text and how to guide students through that. Then we would do reading for fluency. At this point, we've now built up the 3-component lesson plan. Reading for fluency, word work, and guided oral reading. You only have 2 word work activities at that point, but let's keep learning more and more word work activities. We would then learn sort it and then write it. And then we'd go into differentiate it, which is how to do small groups, how to plan, and then extend it, which would be literacy centers, again, differentiated. Then we show you 4 case studies of a whole lesson, the 3-part components. They're just 15 minutes, so you can get the big picture. You see a kindergarten reading level, 1st grade reading level, 2nd grade reading level, and 4th grade reading level. And so that takes you about 9 hours of video, but we want you to take a little bit more time than that because we're actually asking you also to put it into practice just like you did this week with the 5-day reading breakthrough. So this is the introduction. You can see these are the different lessons. The question marks are where we have quizzes, and this helps you know you're nailing it. And it also unlocks the next level. So once you get down here and do the quiz for this, you'll be able to get past the introduction into our next unit, which would be Switch It. But before we get there, this would be an example. You're going to see videos. This one's a 19-minute video that's a welcome and orientation. And again, I'm pushing on the image there the practice cycle, the reflective practice cycle. So you don't just watch stuff, you go out and do it, and then you reflect on it in our teacher's lounge, which I'll show you. Here's an example of the intro to the Reading Simplified framework. So how do you put these word lists into context with a kid reading at the 1st grade reading level versus the 2nd grade reading level? Well, I would scroll down here after learning about that, and I would get this in streamlined pathway, and that would be a PDF that looks like this. So everyone who's not yet fluent, we assign one of 3 streamlined pathways. This is like our scope and sequence. So here's the one for kindergarten reading level rather. Here's the one for 1st grade reading level. And here's the one for 2nd grade reading level. So in the framework video, I explain what this means and what they do for us and how you can put those students on a level based on the assessment. And so say we're at Switch It, say we're moving into Switch It, these would be the lessons for that. Get the big picture, watch more videos, examples of procedures. These examples are very helpful because you get the phraseology of how to coach kids when they're stuck, especially the giving feedback. And then we would have this one to give us the word lists and materials. And there's just a little bit of information to read, and then some things to download. Like here is the complete Switch It word list. So this is longer than what you got as a sample for the 5-day reading breakthrough. It's 25 pages. This is all 3 sound words, a lot on 3 sound words because we're teaching the code this way. And then when we get into 4 sound words, you can see they're color coded. CVC, CC, VCC, and so on. Even nonsense words. Then you another big thing, there's more to each unit. I'm not going to go through each unit, but there's 2 big ideas about the way we orchestrate the materials in the Reading Simplified Academy that's kind of unusual. So it's important for you to know. Once you get to guided reading, then you get to this last one here, then you unlock a lot of the materials to read our decodable text for the basic code or basic phonics level. That would be the short vowel level, consonants and consonant digraphs. So if I head over here, it's going to look like this. And this is where you see tons and tons of downloads for the decodable text and the activities that you will use. So as for one of the three parts of the lesson plan, it's guided oral reading, we're providing you with lots of variations for different levels. So let's say I'm just looking, here's like the this section is all pre-kinder to kinder, and then we have some first grade review, some higher level things. So here's one thing I just opened up. Let me scroll back to this. So this is for kindergarten level, short A, just short A, when you're just like starting out with an absolute beginner and you're just giving them a couple of words and phrases. Notice how the TH is bolded because it's just like switch it. 1 sound, 2 letters. That's okay. We want to draw attention to it as a thing. Same thing with ADD here. We throw these consonant digraphs to them early because they need to know the concept that 1 sound could be 2 letters or more, and they need it early, and it's not too hard for them. So this is really very beginning. I am Sam, I am Pam, I am whoever, Sam sat, I sat, etc. Very few words on the page, short vowels, a lot of coding of the text. But then we pretty quickly get into short A and I, again with the kindergarten level for beginners. And now we're getting into slightly longer sentences. Now we're mixing A and I. You notice the paired contrast. The kid can't just turn off his brain and keep saying ah, ah, ah. He's got to read ah. He's got to read and look at the letters. This could even be the 2nd, 3rd week of kindergarten. Depends on how fast the kids pick it up. Here's one of our first stories. Notice very few words on the page. The TH is bolded. There's I and A. We pre-teach some irregular or high-frequency words like has and a or a. We also have these sentence pyramids. I can act sad, I can act sad and mad, etc. Another story, 1 page. They're 1 page, and we get the kids to read it during guided oral reading, and then we read it back to them once, maybe twice, with them following along with their finger. And as a result, then they go reread it in a differentiated literacy center, maybe with one of their buddies from their small group, and they get this practice in like 3, 4, 5 times. So guess what happens tomorrow? They're accountable. They need to be able to read this, and they've learned a lot of these words. They've gotten better at decoding. They got better at their letter sound knowledge, but they also may have the words like a and has and the and will memorized, or they may have orthographically mapped it. So that is just short A and short I, and that keeps going. We have so many materials. Here's the R and OR sounds. This is just kindergarten, but we have first grade materials, and this is all just for guided reading when it's at the short vowel level. And then after we'd done guided reading, we would go to this, well, we do rereading, and then eventually you get to sort it, and that's where we have the most number of decodable texts. That's because we're teaching advanced phonics at that point. And that's the concept that one vowel sound can have multiple spellings. The O sound, I'll show you, it can have many spellings. So after we get the information, we pass the quizzes, then we unlock these resources. The first set is kindergarten reading level or first grade reading level. The second set here or lesson is 2nd or 3rd grade reading level or 4th or 5th grade reading level. So let me show you. If I opened up the kindergarten or the first grade reading level, then I'd scroll down, and all of these would be downloads for the kindergarten level that align to our streamlined pathway, and these would be things to download for the first grade, and then some supplemental things. So say I want to work with a kid who's at the first grade reading level and they're learning the sound O. This would be what I'd open up, an intro activity, build it to teach this concept that one sound could be multiple spellings, see the different spellings for O, and then we would do our classic sorted activity. This is the easy level because it's for first graders. It's single syllable. We've got words like go, road, slow, toe, most, home. Notice how the child's going to read the words and then sort them by spelling, and then she also says the sounds as she writes them. Shh, O. And we've got that key sentence, go home to show the boat to Joe. That helps teachers and students remember the key spellings, usually high frequency spellings and words, to make it easier for the child to learn. And then this is kind of, this mnemonic and this organization is used throughout the week, but sort it's not going to cut it. They also have to go and read, right? And so with every lesson we do guided oral reading, and this would be an example for even a very young beginner. They could read this one-page passage. Notice all the O's, O spellings. Then we'd also do search for the sound after they've read it and they've figured out what the passage is about. That's always, comprehension is always number one. Then we would ask them to search. So we would ask them to just underline. Of course, they could put it in a, I always have trouble coming up with this word, little plastic cover, screen. I don't know why I have trouble pulling this thing up. I have some right over here. Tell me the word. Just behind a protector, so then they could write with it on dry erase marker. Or you can, give them their own copy in black and white. So they circle the O in Joe, and the O in Joan, and the O in both, and soap, and float, and go, and all the O's. And they could go back to sort it and fill it in there if they have time. Page protector, sheet protector. Ay. Thank you, ladies. Sheet protector, page protector. More passages with the O sound, like row and boat, 2 different spellings. That's just the intro. Then they would do some more O sound practice at the first grade level, which would be more sorted pages. Here's a write-it example. Also notice all the O spellings. Here, more passages with the O sounds, snow and go. Snow, go, blow, coat, cold, cocoa. And then here's sorted again, but with different words. Notice same key sentence. Go home to show the boat to Joe. An activity sheet. Another sorted page with new words. A little bit harder passage. Look at the O and Joe and toad and old and yellow and boat and bow and goat and row, bow, Joe, float, row. I mean, they're going to nail these spellings by the end of this week. We also have word lists, or rather book lists, where we recommend other things that correspond to this O focus. So if you need to have some more supplemental text, you can. Or you could just simply go into the second grade. Here is sorted for the second and third, either second and third grade level or the fourth and fifth grade level. And you could then get these materials for a harder level and have more practice. So here, let's do second grade O. Different color, second grade reading level. Still, you start with the intro activity, and here are some, we actually started out pretty easy for O for everybody. And we repeat this one in our current one, but we're gonna have new text coming out really soon. We just had a tripling of the amount of text we have for kindergarten. So notice how much harder this is, but it's still doing the same thing. Road, open, close, home, drove, slope, snow. So there's a lot of text to read here. And if you had a short lesson and this was hard for kids, you could just break this up into 3 days. Or maybe you want to go to the fourth grade. Again, you're going to do the intro to build it. This is your first time, but now you're going to have slightly harder words. In fourth grade, these would quite rapidly turn into mostly multisyllable, but we kind of start easy in first grade. And we've got that let's go skiing text again, except this time it's a lot harder. more multisyllable words and more words on the page. Another really important feature is that we're not just letting you go on your own, but there's great support like you're getting right now, wherever those comments are. That we have great Reading Simplified experts, including myself, that are in there every day answering questions. So your question won't go more than 24 hours without getting answered. How often do you have an opportunity to get that? So over here are the recent comments. Here's Dion. She's new to Write It. Somebody's going to respond to her soon. Also, we have Switch It Online. How many of you have tried it yet? So it's pretty easy to use. If you don't like what you did, just refresh your screen. And if you need to add something, like you want to do prefixes, you can add those. If you want to not refer to letter names as kids move sounds, you can use these colored squares. Everything is, optional. Okay, you have sat. We need to change it to cat. Which one should we change? The yellow. That's right. And if they did a great job, I'm going to go over here to the award and button and click the award button. And we have a couple different awards that will show up. This is one of them. Oh, Jennifer loves her kids love the awards. And here's another one. Oh, that's a little wonky today. Maybe because I've got too much going on my computer. And don't forget, you're getting this bonus if you join of a podcast. This is everything that I'm teaching in video, I'm also teaching in audio. So you can do it on the go, which is a great asset. I'm in a lot of different programs and to help me with building a business, frankly. And I learn from a lot of people online. And if they don't have an audio, it's a real bummer for me because I'm walking or driving the car, doing the dishes, the laundry. Maybe I'm just resting. What a concept. But I want to learn, and I don't want to have my computer, but you can do it with your phone. So that's a great bonus. So, I forgot to say, we've got this new resource, the bookshelf. Definitely need to show you that. You saw how you could get the text in the guided reading unit or in the sorted unit. You can also get them at the end of the entire thing in the etc. unit down here. We're in the main course. Once you get to the end of the main course, then you will unlock an entire PDF of all the kindergarten resources and another one that's all the first grade. And so you could just wait till the end to get all of them at the end of the 9-hour course. Or in the bookshelf, once you get to a certain level, like if you've unlocked guided reading, then you can say, I'm going to select kindergarten. I particularly want to work on I. So let's check it out. There it is, I. And of course, we're still reviewing A because that's how we roll. We're a cumulative program. Or maybe you guys are thinking about older students. Maybe you're concerned about someone at the 4th grade level. Oh, I got to reset the search filters over here. Come on, there we go. 4th grade, you can see there's 26 PDFs for that. Well, what should we look up? Let's look up I. And you could download it immediately or just look at it. For time's sake, let's just view it. It's 4th grade, the I sound. It's going to have a sorted passage with it. I like to try to find the right pie. It's going to have I sound texts, I and review sound multisyllable word instruction. Here's just idioms, poem, write out all the key sentences that you've been learning. And here's a passage we actually have in multiple grade levels, but this one's the hardest version because we've got words like completely and island and myself and remember and suppose and silence. But notice there's still a lot of I sounds like tired, decide, the sand is fine, white, miles and miles, right. Both rights. The right as in to write with your hand, and then not the opposite of left. Another review of sort it so you can gather words that have been searched here and add them to this. And that's just an example of the 4th grade. So that was a little sneak peek. Did you see everything that you wanted? Good point, Rebecca. We have a private Facebook group. Besides the Teachers Lounge, we also have a private Facebook group where people like yourself from India to Malaysia to Chad, Canada, lots in the U.S., Australia, New Zealand, Cook Islands. Those are Reading Simplified practitioners, teachers and parents, tutors, classroom teachers, interventionists, and they're really generous. Some of them are really experienced, some of them are starting out, and everyone is very nurturing and loves to help share their insights. So that's great. Susan says it looks great. Thanks for the tour. Awesome. And Diaz loves the Diaz Darlin. I guess that's a pen name. She loves the bookshelf. Awesome. And speaking of Australia, Anna is here, and she's a very experienced Reading Simplified tutor. She's often has more than 40 students. So she says it's so easy to get her 40 tutoring students reading with Reading Simplified. If you had to do a different program where everybody was on with a different level and different materials, it would be hard to do 40. But Anna knows she's going to be on one of 3 pathways, and she's going to have a 3-component lesson plan, and she knows where to get the resources. So that's how she can juggle 40. And she's in retirement, ladies and gentlemen. Whose retirement is going to be that ambitious? So any questions or about Switch It? And if you have I haven't heard many celebrations. There have been a lot of celebrations in the Facebook group and on the Reading Breakthrough page, but I haven't heard very many tonight, so I would love to hear one. So let us hear about that, and I will wrap up soon unless there's more questions. I did want to let you know, though, that we do have some really nice bonuses if you decide to join. I should probably give the link. Sorry about that. Okay, Kathy's got a great question. Thank you. So let me just pull that back up and show you. I would just use the search engine, Kathy. That's my favorite thing to do. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. Okay. I'm going to head over here to the Teachers Lounge. And there's a lot of different ways. Say maybe you know specifically, you have something specific you're curious about. So maybe you want to know, you have a child with a blending problem. So you might go into Read It and just read through that history. I was trying to get it to open up. So this is just a chronological reference. And so you could read the headlines. First time with Read It, I tried it with a first grader, 3rd grade beginning reader. Sometimes people will say, like, this isn't working. And so you can tell from the headline, is there a schedule of activities that might be relevant? Oh, so here's a non-writer. If that's a question that works for you, then you would, open that up and see how Terry, one of our teaching assistants, responded. So actually it looks like Jennifer and Terry both responded to Carrie. So that's one way. It's not super efficient, but it can be very enlightening. You can skim through these pretty quickly and learn a lot because there are literally thousands of answers. We opened this discussion forum in 2016, and we've had 14,000 members take advantage of this program. So there's a lot there. So that's one way to go about it. Another way to go about it would be to use our search function. I'm curious about Flexit. So it will show you some suggestions. And these would be forum discussions. Like someone wrote Flexit in their title. And you can see that that happens 45 times. And it goes back, here's just 21 hours ago, and here's 2 years ago, and 1 week ago, and let's see if Susie got a response. Flexit, vowel, E, crazy shorts and longs. Yep, so Susie's question was answered by Jennifer and Catherine, both of our teaching assistants. How do I get back to where I was? I think I might have to search that again. Or you could look for replies. That's another category. So we've got forum discussions, but these are replies where most likely what happened in this case is like a teacher asked about an issue and then a teaching assistant replied with, well, Flexit is your answer. So you can see that's happened 479 times. And then these are members that have talked about it. These are other activities. And you can even see now downloadables. If you've unlocked the whole course at this point, you'd be able to get the 4th and 5th grade OW Flexit activity, which is right here. We have some new Flexit activities, by the way, in the kindergarten materials. But this all relies on you taking some initiative, but frankly, our teaching assistants are really masters of where everything is. So another great idea is to simply go to general discussion and just start a new discussion. You put your title up here, question about something, and then you ask your question, and then the TAs will direct you through so much materials. We do have a lot of material, and that's one of the reasons that the coaching is so important, is we don't expect you to read all of these threads. We don't even expect you to do all of the workshops in a short period of time because there are so many. In fact, I forgot to mention that not only do we have this main course, but after that, we recommend that you go through about 10 other advanced workshops. These are all about 1 hour. And you can do it, you know, over a long time, but you dive into what are more particular issues that are relevant to you. And again, our TAs are great at helping people figure out, well, this is probably going to answer for that. For instance, when people ask about Switch It, we often send people to one of our 2 advanced workshops, Advanced Switch It or a primer on Switch It. Or maybe we send people to one of 2 workshops on multi-syllable word reading instruction. So I hope that answers your question, Kathy. It's a great question. I'm really glad you asked it. And Rebecca, we found out is in India, her little girl is learning more sounds. She has behavior problems and possibly learning differences. Other teachers have dismissed her, saying she can't learn anything. Oy, she is solid on at least 5 sounds now and can get to first and ending sounds on her own and vowel sound with support. Awesome. That is really, really good to hear. And I love to note, not only are you talking about her progress, but you're doing it in a very diagnostic way. These are the features, these are the intermediate steps that she's going to need before she can get to the 4-sound word level or all the basic phonics. You're showing that you understand those, and that's awesome. I remember, well, it's happened to me a lot as a tutor where I worked with kids that had been told that they wouldn't, figure it out, or one in 7th grade that's the parents had been told they'll figure it out eventually. Like in 7th grade, there was a kid was a non-reader. But I had one student who sadly had been in a really bad car accident, had traumatic brain injury, and that happened in kindergarten. And so she had already learned some letter names, and that was not affected. But then she was really poor, really, really poor at learning. In fact, her IQ was supposedly in the 40s, which would be well below even low average. I mean, it's outside of average norms. 70 would be a low average. And so she'd been in school for 5 years, and they'd been working on the letter names for 5 years in the school. And I did Reading Simplified with her, these activities, and Switch It. In fact, actually, I don't know how many of you know this. Switch It used to be a number 1, and this used to be a number 2, and this used to be a number 3. And I would say, what's the first sound that you hear in Matt? And she would say, 1. Like, she just didn't get much because her language system and her memory was really, really, really poor. So that's why I changed that 1, 2, 3 to just lines. That was on account of that young lady. Well, it was hard work but was a number of months, and she was decoding and she was reading at the first grade level. She learned those letter sounds in a few months, and she'd been in school for 5 years, and they were just working on letter names. And I don't even know if she was that good with letter names. I don't remember. So indeed, many of us have worked with children who do take longer. It sounds like that's what you're working with, whom you're working with, but everyone can learn to read, I believe, if they have sight. If they don't have sight, then I'm sure there's a Braille answer. Don't give up. If Reading Simplified isn't for you, for those of you who aren't sure, keep looking until you can find something, because kids can learn to read. Kathy, you mentioned new Flexit material. How do we know when new material is available? Twice a month, Lindsay Hang, our community manager, emails everyone with the little letter, and she gives a concise update of what's new. And every month we have new bonuses, and sometimes those bonuses are releases of material. Like we've just in the last 6 months completely turned over all the kindergarten materials. So if you were keeping up with us over those months, you would have opened those files and seen the new Flexit stuff. That's one way. And also going to the bonus page. So we have materials that are there for 1 month on the bonus page, then they disappear. So keep coming back every month and you will get the goodies. Jennifer had a student whose parents told me that they couldn't read, so she probably wouldn't learn either. Oh no, with a little girl sitting there right there listening. She was reading before she left my classroom. Sweet. Oh, okay, groups, Jennifer, great question. We also have some communities, some really cool communities. For instance, the Australian community is really robust. And that's great because our materials are mostly focused on American spellings, but Anna has led the charge, and others have been helping out to make modified materials for like British spellings or even Australian, the dialect. And we do actually have a Switch It Australian list that Anna helped build. But let's see. Okay, I went to the teacher zones. I need to go over here to this button, resources, and then I need to go to groups. Okay, so I'm going to head to groups. And there's a lot of goodies over here. So if you're not interested in the Australian thing, you can still go in here and teacher-made games and manipulatives. And our community is resourceful, and they are sharing great ideas and PDFs of things that they've made all the time. So you can see, here's the feed. I'm not that much of a master of the groups. See if I don't know if the feed is the best way to do. Different people have joined. Maybe I should look at docs. Yeah. This is where they get the goodies. Okay, so you want something about fry words, you can go here. Lesson planning, go here. Lesson planning templates, more decodable readers. These are really good from Carissa. Advanced code Switch It. Bossy E-slides from Carol. Steal It blank template. Mnemonic. I mean, this is just, look how many pages there are. Rita is a Reading Simplified tutor. Lots of goodies. Now I'm over on page 8, and Mim is sharing Steal It with a different type of card. probably with Australian version. That's just the Australian community. I mean, the teacher-made manipulatives. Here's the Australian community. They also have all these good docs. And there are others. And you can make one of your own. And your school could create one for your own school. So it's a great place to go to find even beyond what we've provided. And we've provided over 1,000 pages. So I was going to get the link to show you guys where to join, and I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to look for the link, and then I think I'm going to call it a night since it's been a while, and I think all the questions are getting answered. Sorry, the link is pulling up. I agree with Deb. Yvonne, boxes are just as good as lines. It's just a little tradition with us. It's not, there's no significance, because the important thing is that you're showing a visual position in place for where the sound, which is an abstract thing, is located. So a box or a line both show that visual position. So it's not probably going to be any different if you already are familiar with. Let's get this link. Okay. And now, yeah, we're missing Greg tonight. He needs a break. You're welcome, Kathy. All right, I'm going to have to pull up. For some reason, I don't have the option to give a comment in this streaming service that I'm in, so I'm going to go into Facebook and leave the comment there for how you can join. Who's joined that we need to celebrate? I will still be participating in the Facebook group in the coming week or so. So, and I'm going to add another video on research, and oh, I forgot. I'm going to add the video on small group instruction. I was going to show it at the beginning and I forgot, but it's getting late and I really appreciate your time. You've been very faithful, but I'm going to add that small group reading instruction example into the Facebook group, the 5-day reading breakthrough. And so you can catch it there. And that's what we'll do in the next few days, is add a few more examples of Switch It, because it's not always 101. It's not always with the beginner, so that should be helpful. All right. Many thanks to my team. They're not all here, but Jennifer and Deb are part of a very impressive team of dedicated folks, and they've gone above and beyond to help out for this event. So I am thanking them publicly. And it's been a treat to be with you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for taking a risk on a new idea and then testing it out. Keep up the momentum. Don't stop, switch it. See what you can drop. See what other things you can add that can also replace old stuff that's less efficient. That's how we roll here at Reading Simplified. Have a good evening or a good day to those of you on the other side of the world. Here's to making